What's up, everybody? Welcome in. Jump to Start Racing Podcast. My name is Wellington. I'm here with two of my closest friends. Yancy, say hello.
Oh, now we're close, huh?
We can go back to
Hi.
Ruben.
What's going on, guys?
You guys are
Gave me the death stare.
You guys. Okay.
Welcome back.
Maybe by the end of the season, we'll be close. Guys, I want to welcome everybody in. We're visible on YouTube, Jump to Start Racing Podcast. We are on many, many podcast platforms. If you are listening, please drop a review. Couple stars. Ruben's very enthusiastic about that.
Thumbs up.
Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and Stitcher. Those are our primary platforms. Again, YouTube at Jump to Start Racing Podcast and at Jump to Start F1, Twitter and Instagram. Ruben, how was your weekend, my man?
It was pretty good. Saw some racing yesterday. Home.
Yeah.
You guys didn't want to go to the bar, but I stood home. Thank you.
Yancy,
Great weekend.
great weekend. Why great?
Full of racing. Full of F1. At the sprint race, or the qualifying on Friday. Sprint qualifying on Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
Which was great.
Oh, yeah.
Then we got the Grand Prix on Sunday. What a Grand Prix it was. Yeah, it was a great weekend.
And on that note, maybe we should get into that. Ruben, hit the race review.
Gentlemen, a short view back to the past.
20 years ago. No, it was 30. See, I messed it up like right away in the first thing.
Dude,
I got to do it before the end of the year. I know, from memory.
3 races
Can't
left.
read it. The story of qualifying wasn't even the qualifying itself. But, okay, so Hamilton finished first place in qualifying. That's where he landed. Behind him was Verstappen. Third was Bottas. Fourth was Perez, correct? Well, let me just verify that. Yes, correct. So, after qualifying was completed, they do the FIA does the scrutineering where they just make sure that everyone's within the sporting regulations for Formula One. They discovered that Hamilton's rear wing, when DRS is open, the gap between, I guess, the top portion of that wing, where it opens, the gap where it opens was too wide, thus disqualifying him from qualifying, knocking him all the way back from, we'll call it pole position for the sprint qualifying, to the rear of the grid. And then on top of that, Max Verstappen doing his Inspector Max,
Inspector Seb.
shtick. Yes, Inspector Seb teaching Inspector Max how to do it, or not so much.
Nah, he definitely took the wrong lessons. Keep going.
Secured a €50,000, or is it pound? 50,000, I'll call it euro, penalty
Euro, yes.
for even touching Hamilton's car. What do we think of, Yancy, what do you think of that first penalty, the Hamilton penalty?
But the penalty was brought up by the FIA checking the car, or they were alerted to check the car?
No, it's a check that they do every week.
I'm pretty sure it's just their regular scrutiny.
So if you saw the coverage on Sky F1,
Do you have Sky?
Huh?
You have Sky?
I do.
Wow.
Don't tell me how I get it, but I got it. So if you watch the coverage, they have, so it's a normal test that they do every weekend just to check the gap. But not only do they check the gap, they have to check also the force, because obviously the wings are flexible. So I think the regulation is it has to be 57 or 58 millimeters.
85.
80. Wow, I'm way off. 85 millimeter opening, but you also have to push through with like 10 Newton meter force. So they have like this disc. It looks like a pizza cutter almost. It's like a sponge disc, and they have to push it very hard. And if it goes through at all with ease, then
It's too much flex.
It's too much. It's too much flex, basically. So it's not necessarily that the gap was wide. It was that it wasn't enough holding it in. It wasn't sturdy enough. So immediately that's grounds for
Disqualification.
for disqualification.
So why didn't they put tape on it?
Well,
I know,
the argument Mercedes had was that the part was broken. It got broken, I guess,
Compromise.
compromised during the session. So they
Right.
they thought that they would be able just to fix it, but
Right.
it was already in parc ferme, so they weren't.
Didn't they say that Max broke it with his hands?
Well, that's why you don't touch the cars.
Jeez.
I don't know.
his,
I don't
like,
know if
claws.
I don't know if it went that far. I don't think you can break it that easily, but that's the reason why you don't touch the car is because you go in and you start touching things, and then all of a sudden, you could blame it on the team.
Right. What does mom tell you when you're a kid? You're
Yeah,
in the
but
store, don't touch anything.
But I think that they
I got smacked a couple of times.
pow, pow. But they also determined that Max wouldn't be able to just break it.
His claw hand? He wouldn't
Yeah,
be
he
able to-
wouldn't be able to to break it. He's not the Incredible Hulk.
Did you
He's
also like-
Super Max, but he's not the Incredible Hulk. So I mean that's exactly what it is. They put the wheel through there and went through and.
So even before the weekend started, we were alerted to the fact that Lewis Hamilton was going to be taking an engine penalty for another internal combustion engine. Went to Hunt's Point. Valtteri told him it's guy. They
got a
came
guy.
out. Yeah, he's got a guy. Another 5-place grid place penalty. 5 grid place penalty. And then on top,
Again.
what's up?
Say it again.
5 grid place penalty. Yeah?
Just make
Okay.
sure you said it right.
Okay.
The third time was right.
So beyond the fact of disqualification, wherever he finished on Saturday, he was going to have to fall back those 5 places.
Mm-hmm.
But a saving grace or redeeming factor, his pace was out of control on Friday. I think he was a good 0.4 up on Max at the end, like in Q3. So
I think the risk that he took at the beginning of the race was what helped out the most, because I think he took what ended up being supposed like a outer line on the first turn, and by that he overtook like 4 cars just doing that.
right, but we're talking about
So
qualifying.
qualifying.
Oh, qualifying, my bad.
Qualifying.
Okay, sorry.
Gotta
Told you it was an exciting weekend.
Yeah.
So many things to talk
So
about.
much drama. All right, so yeah, the pace was out of control to the point where the Red Bull camp was nervous about what are they going to be able to show. But beyond that, sprint qualifying. All right, so
That's
was
2 qualifying sessions in a row that the Mercedes dominates. by
and
the
like
way.
completely.
Completely.
Yes.
Like, and not by close margins either. Like, completely dominate them.
And they only took the new engine in one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So their straight line speed is insane.
bananas in pajamas.
Yeah. I mean, obviously through through sector 2, the Red Bull
Oh, yeah.
would make
Oh,
up a lot of the time, but their straight line speed is insane. So that bodes well for them in the upcoming tracks.
Sprint qualifying. The experiment is over. 3 sessions in, Silverstone, Monza, and now here in Brazil. So overall, what did you guys think? All 3 now, hindsight, looking back, what did you guys think as final thoughts on the sprint qualifying experiment, Ruben?
I think it's an awesome add to the weekends, and they're actually, the 3 points and all the other stuff. So bring more. The way they want to do it, that they want to have. Sorry. That they want. That they want
at the mic.
Yeah, my bad. That they want to have more. If they keep Brazil, obviously in Brazil, it's already the 3rd time. So probably you could say maybe that's like a small system to do it. And actually in Brazil you could say maybe it was a little smoother to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if they keep going that way and make it better. it's
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, remember that they
They want to do 8 next year or something, right?
they're gonna do 6.
6, there you go.
The end goal was to shake up the grid going into Sunday to the
And bring fans.
Well, can you wait? The goal is to shake up the grid, basically. That's what we're trying to do. And I think in all 3 instances, the events on Saturday have qualified in shaking up the grid more or less for the Grand Prix on Sunday. So you have the issue that happened in qualifying on Saturday on Friday with Hamilton taking the penalty, you have this amazing spectacle of Lewis starting from the back and ending up in P5, which made that race
The sprint quality.
The sprint qualifying made it 10 times better. It also showed you more or less where the car's at as far as pace, and we saw the Mercedes clearly had the advantage this weekend. And then come on Sunday, obviously you had Hamilton moving up the field, but he still had another 5-place grid penalty because he had to take the engine. You did see some people move up, in the order. I think there's some tweaks that have to be made, but overall, I think it's a positive experience for F1. And if we get it at a few races, I think it'll be okay. It doesn't work at every track.
No, that's what.
But at the tracks that they did have it does work. And I think, remember, again, I keep repeating this over and over. With the new rules coming, the cars could follow better. And we've seen that if cars can follow better and they can overtake, it makes for better racing.
I'm with it. I thought, pretty much exactly what Yancey thought. How about we beat him up a lot? But how about Bottas won 2 out of the 3 sprint qualifying races?
Did what he had to do.
He kept the extra point away from Verstappen, kept the extra points away from Red Bull as a constructor, which is starting to now even get into more into play.
We beat him up a lot.
Yeah,
Bottas.
correct. Everybody beats him up, to be honest. Like,
I beat him up. Bottas is the man.
look at this guy, man. Charles Leclerc is shaking his head, listening to this garbage.
Come on. Come on, man. You guys have been shitting on Bottas, basically. Use my language. And I've been telling you that the guy, he's not going to be a Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen caliber driver, but he's a good team driver. And when they need him, he's there. And he's shown in the past 2 races how valuable he can be. Okay? As a number 2 driver. He's a good number 2 driver. He's not a number 1 driver.
No, also number 2 driver.
He's an awesome number 2 driver. My man won the sprint qualifying race. He also took a fastest lap point last week in Mexico.
He won the previous sprint qualifying.
Dude is a monster. Come on, Bottas.
Go Bottas.
Come on, bro. Bottas. Bottas is the man. Y'all got to stop it, man. The guy knows what he's doing.
He's a professional.
He's a professional.
Speaking of professional,
Drinks porridge.
the last guy I wanted to talk about with the sprint qualifying, Carlos freaking Sainz, dude. Wow. Ruben on it. Carlos freaking Sainz. Taking full advantage of Perez. I don't know where his head was at during the sprint quali, but Hamilton falling back. So obviously you want to make sure you get those valuable points now where you're fighting against McLaren. You want to squeeze out every last little bit of value you can. So kudos to him. Kudos to Ferrari, who has put together what is clearly the 3rd best car on the grid, right, this season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They got
What a turnaround.
The upgrade.
Yeah, what a turnaround. From going to one of the slowest cars on the straight, one of the worst cars on the grid, to coming back now this season and producing clearly what is the 3rd best car on the grid and putting in consistent results along with their 2 great drivers.
Oh, my God.
Carlos Sainz
Oh,
and
my God.
Charlie! Woo! They have taken a commanding lead in the Constructors' Championship, and it looks good for them in the future. I just hope that they can keep up the good teamwork.
Weren't there rumors earlier this year that Carlos Sainz is only there for like a year or 2, not a year, but like 2 to 3 years until they groom Mick Schumacher and he could come into the... He's really putting his best foot forward here.
Well, but Carlos Sainz is doing what he usually does. He's very consistent. He's a very cerebral driver. He's not one of those drivers that counts too much, even though he's talented, but
on his talent. Yeah.
but on his talent,
Yeah, that's a good
like
point.
more like drivers that count more on their talent, more like Hamilton or Max Verstappen or Charles Leclerc, where they have a good feel for the car. Carlos Sainz is not that, but he's a very cerebral driver. He thinks of the strategy. He knows what he wants out of the car, and he's very consistent. He's a very consistent driver. I mean, I think he has the most points finishes this season out of any, or one of them are. He has like the longest streak in points finishes this season. He's driving lights out, and again, when you need a good second driver, Carlos Sainz is one of the people to go to.
Who's the better second driver, him or Valtteri Bottas?
Right now,
Bottas.
I would say Bottas, but that's just simply because I don't think Carlos Sainz has the CV, as they say, enough of a
What?
Resume.
CV, the resume, to compete against Bottas. Bottas has been in Bottas not only he's been in F1 longer, but he's also been in a top team a lot longer than Carlos Sainz. So, Carlos Sainz still has a ways to go, but he's definitely on his way.
So I just want to confirm, Carlos Sainz has scored points in every race since the Styrian Grand Prix, which was the first Austrian Grand Prix.
Oh.
It is the longest consecutive, longest streak of points scored in a race. So, good job.
Carlos Sainz.
Yes, sir.
Chile.
Okay. The race itself. So we had Valtteri Bottas on pole, Max second, Carlos Sainz third, Sergio Perez fourth. At the start of the race, or at the starting grid. First turn, just like in the sprint qualifying, Max Verstappen overtakes Bottas, and we see your boy Lewis Hamilton making moves.
But he did that in the sprint qualifying too as well, to be able to get
All right, so when you said the point earlier, which one? Where were
That
you
was in the
talking
sprint.
about? In the sprint?
in the sprint race.
You didn't bring it up.
No, but you guys roll with it.
Need to assert yourself more, Ruben.
No. Even in the sprint qualifying as well, because he also did it during the race. Hamilton at the beginning. Did you see how slow the formation lap was with him?
Yeah, he did it on purpose.
I know, but do you think that also helped in to push the field when he spent less time parked? Obviously because that's what pretty much.
Well, he was
ended up
trying to
happening.
make sure that his tires are warm from the start.
to be able to start, and that's
and
pretty much,
then that everybody else's tires are cool. So
especially at the beginning, especially all the way to the front that they were already parked there for like.
champion knows how to
No, it's just
take it to his advantage.
it's just the strategies that they sometimes they pull and.
That's something. That's like a Nico Rosberg move. That's something that he would do.
No, because that took me to, I think it was Robert Kubica. He said that when he was running in karting with Lewis, that Lewis tended to run super rich, so it was something affiliated to that. When at the beginning, I let him stand there as much as possible, so his engine would choke a little bit. Pretty much what Lewis just did, but with the tires in this instance to everybody else.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
what he's doing.
Yeah.
Those are like
what
the
Yancey
little,
said earlier, cerebral.
those are little things
I
that
thought we
you
were talking
can
about
do
X-Men when he said.
to get it.
That's Cerebro.
Professor X, bro.
Oh my God. Wow. Thank you, Ruben. That just made my day.
Wow. Who would have thought?
So the race itself, like we just talked about, Max got off to that great start. Then he was just kind of off in the distance while Hamilton was clawing his way up the field. A couple of safety cars due to incidents with Yuki Tsunoda, and then a virtual safety car with Mick Schumacher.
At the beginning, you wouldn't say that that for Max to get over, he pushed Bottas a little bit.
I didn't think so. It was the same move that Bottas pulled on him the day before.
Okay.
He just had the inside line, and right? Would you agree or disagree there?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't.
There wasn't anything dirty.
There wasn't
that I saw
anything
there.
dirty there. I think it was.
No, obviously running wide. I mean, being pushed out of the track a little bit like that didn't help him in the next turn, and that's when Verstappen, completely just took off because he ran wide, and then Perez overtook him too because he had dirty tires.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta know that they're gonna be right behind you anyways, pushing. So, I just don't think Bottas got off to a good start like they did. So it is what it is. But I think, Bottas messed up there because he should have at least kept at least one of the Red Bulls behind him. Didn't make a difference anyway.
Right. So Hamilton started 10th. He finished the sprint qualifying 5th, five place grid penalty, able to start 10th. Cut his way through. It was surgical at this point. There wasn't anything really to write home about, right? There wasn't there was no battle like Alonso versus Hamilton, right? There was no
about
Hamilton moving his way up the field.
He makes it look so easy.
Yeah.
Obviously the pace of the car was there, but again, let's look back at, and this is probably the only comparison we can make because it's the same car. Bottas when he's behind a bunch of drivers and he has to move up to the field, Bottas mostly relies on a pit stop to get him up the field. Hamilton just overtakes. So there's something to be said there. If he makes it, if there's really nothing at home to talk about, that means he made it look so easy. But that means that, again, he made it look easy. It's not that it is easy. But it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Man. I think when you have a car out of place, it's just fun to watch. And he literally,
and the clean.
Yeah.
He did it so clean too.
I'll tell you what, he got ahead and he said to the team, he said, tell Valtteri to follow me.
Let's go
get these guys. Yep.
He did that the entire weekend. He put that entire team on his back and not only killed in regular qualifying on Friday and beat the Red Bulls by a mile, went into the sprint qualifying in P20 and got up to P5, like a knife through butter cut through that field.
Yeah.
Right? And then did the same thing in the Grand Prix. Was, I think, lap 6 or 7, he was already up in top 5.
Yeah.
And then to get it, obviously, I mean, Valtteri let him get ahead. But then to say that, I said, tell Valtteri to follow me. Let's go get these guys. He wanted that one too, and he really thought that he could. And he after not even a fight from anybody in the field, basically, they could have gotten a 1-2.
If Bottas would have been able to follow in the way Lewis said.
Yeah, but that's the
because
thing.
Bottas doesn't have like that aggression that Hamilton has, or the whatever the winning pedigree or whatever you want to call it.
Because and this is what you have when you rate drivers and you're judging drivers on their performance. You're gonna judge them by what their teammates do in the same car. It is the same car, so you clearly see that Hamilton is bringing out a lot more of that car. You clearly see Verstappen bringing out a lot more of that Red Bull than Sergio Perez is. You can do this. You can say the same thing about Leclerc and Ferrari bringing out a lot more of that car than Sainz does, even though Sainz has been driving great. And you can see it in a more pronounced way in Alpha Tauri with Gasly and Tsunoda. When you see how these guys, these top tier drivers, and right now we're talking about Hamilton and Verstappen, how they can just like wring everything out of that car and putting these remarkable performances. It's great to see, and that's what we want to see as fans. And what Hamilton did this weekend is, one, if he goes on to win the championship, this will be the turning point. But regardless of that, this weekend is going to be remembered in F1 history lore because he had one of the best weekends any driver has ever had, and added to the fact that he did it not only once but twice in 2 races in the same weekend. It was just an amazing performance. I told you guys during text while we were doing the race, it's hard not to root for this guy. It's hard not to be a fan of
I agree.
how great he is, man.
I agree.
You guys stop hating on him. Whoever's hating on him,
It's
whoever's
not
out
us.
there, stop hating on him. Whoever's out there, enjoy this. This is a once in a lifetime experience that you're watching. You're watching greatness right in front of you. Stop hating and appreciate
Who
it.
was it? It was something I think Lando Norris said about that Hamilton should be driving the car in 3 wheels because he was so fast
He
ahead
was
of everybody else.
It was incredible how quick he was, man. And I mean, and kudos to Max for holding him back for so long, but we knew that was coming,
Yeah.
man.
They
We
even
knew
said
that was coming.
on Saturday, I think it was Brundle that said that it had gotten to the point where Hamilton had figured out a different line during the sprint qualifying to be able to get a faster exit to hit, what was it, Jung Sao or whatever that's.
Mhm.
Yeah, I swear to God, they said Jung Sao like 800
Yeah, I
times
know.
this freaking
Jun
weekend.
Sao is the last corner.
Yeah.
Going
So to be able to hit a different line to approach
looks like
Jung
an oval,
Sao,
right?
yeah,
Mhm.
and come out of it at a faster speed to be able to overtake on that
Oh, he has
long
experience.
straight. Right, but
You know,
How many-
is Doc Lock?
right, how many
Going
he
from those
didn't pass
days.
him there, but how many guys Brundle said it that he was like he kind of figured out a different line to take. How many guys just stay in the train, just stay with the same racing line without adjusting their tactics throughout the race to be able to figure something out to be able to get going past people?
Yeah.
I don't
No,
know,
not
this
many
is
have like the guts to try something.
No.
Yeah, I
They're
mean,
afraid of
like I
spinning out,
said,
man.
the best drivers in F1 history have a good feel for the car, and they're able to make adjustments on the fly. And like I said, you see that with Hamilton, you see that with Verstappen. I think the only guy you see that with Alonso and Leclerc. And again, and just the way he said that the overtake where he finally got ahead of Max, that was like a 3 or 4 corner overtake because he set him up going in through
Yep,
the
yep.
first after the first DRS zone just to make sure that he's close enough, and then at turn 4 he got him, and
Right.
it was
Rope-a-dope.
it was literally a master class in
Not
overtaking.
just that you.
It was one of those things where it's
Yeah.
like, dude, it's not just this one corner. I've been setting you up since way back there.
Right.
Man.
And what we saw it last week with Perez against Hamilton, right? We saw Perez would charge him, his battery would go, whatever. You saw, like Yancy said, the setup of, okay, this is what I have with my car. This is what Max has with his car. He's going to set up his battery so that I don't overtake him on the main straight. Turn 1, turn 2, he's going to try and recharge. I'm going to get him right after that, just like Yancy said, in turn 4, because I've been setting him up this whole time.
He's taking this line, so I'm going to tell you this. I'm a dummy. And this is all happening in milliseconds going
Yep.
200 miles an hour. That's insane. That's insane.
Yep.
And these guys are able to pull that off.
It's like he went like Super Saiyan in this weekend. Like,
Yeah.
it was like you said. If this is now it's very likely, or now where we thought that this fight was over, now this is likely going down to the end. So if this guy wins this championship, there is no question there should not be any question in anybody's mind that this is the greatest driver in
of
history.
all time, bro.
In history.
If he wins the championship for that season review, I'm buying a GOAT mask and I'm wearing it the whole time.
Whoa.
Dude, insane. It was just wow. That was an incredible drive. It was one of those drives where it's just like you just stay in awe of how good he is. I think the last time I felt that was when Lewis was out because he got COVID and George Russell stepped in. The way George Russell drove that weekend was incredibly impressive.
Leaving it
and
all on the
this
table.
was
Yeah.
something similar to that. And listen, it's gonna be. I mean, obviously, we're getting ahead of ourselves. It'll be a fun matchup to see George Russell and Lewis Hamilton in the same car next year. But just appreciate what you're seeing now from Lewis, and appreciate what you're seeing from Verstappen. But that weekend, and Max has had good weekends this year. But that weekend, this weekend that Lewis Hamilton has had was probably the best weekend any driver's had this season at all. I mean, it was great. It was great. It was great to see. It was a fun weekend, man. Just watching that was insane.
I think this is the little bit of energy that Mercedes needed, because even the way Toto Wolff felt regarding the when he waved at the camera and all that stuff. Yeah, exactly. So even that was part of everything to wake up even the whole team.
Yeah, man.
So Rebel better watch out.
These are one of these things where it's like, I'm putting my team on the back, and we see
These guys are awake now.
We see it here in American sports. We see it with basketball. We see it with baseball.
See with Tom Brady.
You see Tom Brady. I'm just gonna just follow me, bro.
I think
Follow me. Let's get these guys. Put his team
Abu
on his
Dhabi
back.
might mean something this year, but it will,
And
and it's going to be a party.
Exactly.
that was such a great drive by Lewis, man. I
Great
was-
weekend. Like,
Yeah.
and they even said it. He took 25. Yeah, 25 places in grid penalty, and he still won the race. So that clash, I'm gonna call it the clash, when he tried to overtake Max on the outside the first time, tried to overtake Max on the outside of turn 1. Max hit the brakes really, really late to be able to pull ahead of him, and then kind of didn't really turn into the turn. Max says, "Oh, my tires were worn. I had to take a safe line. I didn't have the grip." Obviously, once the stewards came out and said that there's not going to be any penalty, Hamilton,
They
of
said
course,
no
no investigation.
They didn't
Of
even
course.
investigate it.
Ruben, what did you think of that whole?
Well, we have to give credit to both drivers. Like, I think Red Bull, Mexico, it was the same way as well. It's shown that Max is so comfortable in this car that he's able to brake so late and not locked up.
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy.
So that was that
Yeah,
right
he
there
really
was
didn't lock up. You're right.
He missed the apex. He
Yeah.
actually said that he missed the apex. His tires were worn, and then whatever. But you're right.
I think things like what happened yesterday between Hamilton and Max have to happen so we could have a little more energy or more excitement within the race.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we still have to see Verstappen's on board to determine, whatever.
Didn't happen.
It didn't happen. Yeah, there was no on board. So
The camera was out.
exactly, yeah. So
The camera just turned.
I believe if
That's
the
exactly what happened. The camera just turned at that moment.
yeah, right. You
I
serious?
swear.
I
I
believe
mean, I'm
that.
pretty sure they have a shot
yeah.
there, but it was.
But if
Go
the
ahead.
roles would have been turned, Max would not have gone out. They would have crashed.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Lewis went. He saw. Hey,
Yeah.
Lewis is a super aggressive driver, but also a safer driver. So meaning he knows he has a bunch of laps left.
He knows who's he's
Exactly.
racing. He knows
So
who he's
if
racing.
that would have been Max in Lewis' position, they would have crashed,
Yes.
and they would have been out.
Yeah,
And-
but advantage who in that case? Advantage Red Bull because
Yeah,
they
of
are
course.
leading,
Yeah,
and they were leading by 20-something points up to that point.
But
Go ahead.
the way it was, because remember early in the race, was it early in the race or the sprint qualifying that both Ferraris went out as well. So that corner is known for people going out as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough to,
The only way
I'm
we're-
just glad both drivers came out, and they were able to continue and give us more action.
First of all, that was definitely a penalty. Did I want to see a penalty there? No, because then the outcome of the race would have depended on somebody getting a penalty instead of actually Lewis Hamilton overtaking him on the track,
Yeah.
which did happen. But that was a penalty. Why? Because Max was going into that corner. He broke late, knowing that maybe he could not make that corner. Now, we don't know if he actually, turned the wheel this way or was actually trying to make
or
it.
corrected it.
It's very much a possibility he had too much speed going into the corner. He couldn't correct it in time, and he was trying to, but he had too much speed. He didn't have the grip. That's fine, but we can't see a steering angle.
Oh, the camera was turned.
Well, the camera's or they're just not going to show it. But honestly,
the total wolf thing.
But
The
I'll tell
camera
you
was
what, if it was something where if he had kind of made the corner and he would have stayed on the track, he would have stayed on the track and he would have pushed Lewis off. I think they would have probably that would have probably been more of a penalty, more of a call for a penalty than anything because he actually made the corner and then pushed Lewis out. But since both of them went out, I think the stewards were like, all right, both of them went out. Nobody really gained an advantage, which they shouldn't be doing that. But at the end of the day, he did push Lewis out because Lewis clearly had the corner going in, was ahead going into that corner.
You think it was definitely a penalty?
I think it was a
With 2021 F1 stewards, do you think that was a penalty?
Yeah.
My opinion is no, because they haven't been calling that all year. All year, guys have been pushing each other out. And the only time it's been called was in Austria, where, what was it, Perez got a penalty?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the only time. In Silverstone, it was not a penalty. When, granted, they collided, but it wasn't a penalty. There was another. incident.
What?
Lewis and and
There was
Max?
a penalty.
There was a penalty.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, I take it back.
He got 10 seconds for that.
Yeah, he got a penalty.
I don't think that if not for the severity of that accident, I don't think it would have been a penalty. But I think that they've just been kind of letting it go all year.
Letting them race.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what Red Bull said right away.
Especially those two. They've just been letting them go at it. But I think, Ruben, you're 100% right. That had it been Max, he would have just crashed right into him. Just forget it. I don't care. But it would have, if he could wipe out Lewis, it would be an advantage to him because now it's one less race of potential points. And a race in which Hamilton had the faster car.
Yeah, but it could have gotten him a penalty for the next race.
If they would have taken him out.
Advantage also.
Take a new engine.
Shout out to the real MVP of the race.
Who's that?
FIA Radio, Michael Massey.
Yo, the sarcasm, oh my God.
Yo, let me tell you the most consistent performer
Yeah.
on any F1
No
TV
excitement,
broadcast
just stone cold.
has
Michael
been
Massey.
FIA Radio. It doesn't even have to be Michael Massey. It's just
FIA Radio.
when we see FIA Radio with the teams, this is good, boy. And there you see them complaining like, so we can crowd this driver up the field. Yeah, we're just looking at it. Yeah.
Oh, that's when it
Let us
happened too
confirm.
with Kimi and Alonso, like last race or 2 races ago.
Yeah, well, now, listen, we're
So
looking
we're allowed
at
to
it.
overtake now?
Thank you for
Like
letting
cutting a
me
corner?
know.
And the guy sounded like, I don't know, it wasn't Michael Massey, he sounded like Kermit. It was like,
Yeah. It was great. I mean, listen, that's the best thing that they've done as
To
far
show
as the
those radios?
broadcast. It's just FIA Radio, dude. This is great. This just adds another layer of
That's right.
drama.
it's like a salt bay.
Watching these
So big on top of it.
watching these teams just bitch and moan about calls, and FIA be like, yeah, we're looking at it. Yeah.
So is that like what we call the part
You
of the
can
drama
tell
of the
that-
soap opera?
You can tell. Yeah, well, yeah, because this is exactly what it is. It is a soap opera. This is like Netflix but live. Okay, and you can
And on the
tell
next
that you can
episode.
tell Michael Massey's just over it. He's like, yeah, whatever, dude. We're looking at it. Leave me alone. I know what I'm doing.
So there was no penalty, no
Where's the Kimmy
investigation.
drop?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Michael Massey.
Oh man, that reminds me. I didn't hit the ball last shot. But anyway, no investigation needed, as you said, and it was one of those, of course, from Hamilton. What do we think of the FIA and their behavior towards Mercedes in this race?
As far as like the weekend as a whole,
Yeah. Is there collusion?
It was definitely not the weekend for them to be sitting next to each other at the table.
listen, man, rules are rule.
So the rules are
Clarify
rule
them.
for qualifying. I agree.
Yeah.
Rules are rule for Hamilton not having a seatbelt in. Understand, even though that doesn't apply to Leclerc. Understood.
Hater.
Yes. But the no investigation thing, that's not.
Yeah, listen, at least investigate it and then come out with some substantial evidence where
They didn't even look at Max's
Max-
onboard.
that's what I'm saying. This at least an investigation. The rear wing thing, like I said, it's a technical regulation. A rule's a rule. If they got the little pizza slice thing. If it goes through, it goes through.
So pretty much
You get disqualified.
it's Mercedes' fault for making a better
A car that was so good.
a better carbon fiber could flex a little more than the Red Bull instead of braking.
No, but
So
it
they could allow
was,
him to put tape.
but
If it would have been a little more sturdy, it would break. Then we could put tape and we're good to go.
see, but because that's the discrepancy, and this is what people
Roofing
are
tape.
saying. This is, for example, that part failed on them, right? I think it was in Mexico.
Mexico.
It was in Mexico where
Yeah.
the this is an inside joke. Or Mexico where the rear wing failed and they were constantly reinforcing it, and it's 3. Are you guys even listening to me?
Yeah, we're listening. Sorry.
So how many layers of tape did they put on it?
I don't- yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So yeah, it's 3 races in a row where Red Bull is constantly like trying to fix their wing during a session, and the FIA hasn't told them anything.
That's right. They had the
I
crack
think they did it in
wing.
the U.S. too, no?
Yeah,
Yes.
but the Red Bull argument there is that it wasn't in park firmly or it's during a session, so they're able to fix it, especially for safety reasons. I would think that would fall into the same issue if a part gets damaged, if it's a rear wing for safety issues. Yeah, let me get a chance to fix it. And it wasn't like they were on the FIA. They did state that it wasn't done intentionally. It was just that the part failed. But I guess since it failed during a session and they couldn't fix it, and then it went into scrutineering and it didn't, it failed the test.
Sucks.
Yeah, it could be a little bit unfair. I mean, just stating it back right now.
But I want to couple that with, I think we talked about it a little bit last week. I want to couple that with coming into the season. The FIA changed the regulation to favor high rate cars like the Red Bull style. They moved away from what Mercedes was doing. And it's almost like, okay, how can we litigate away the
So they don't
Mercedes
win.
advantage? Yeah, so that we have closer racing. So it's like, that tinfoil hat on time? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tinfoil hat time?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It just feels a little weird.
I'm
Just
gonna
feels
buy a
little weird.
tinfoil hat and I'm gonna put like one of those coat hangers right above it for you, bro. So the little come to you.
Okay, we got to talk about other people in this race. Perez and Bottas. I think that fight is getting good now, right? We can honestly say like they're pretty evenly matched at this point.
don't
Yeah.
I think Paris is better than Bottas.
Nah.
When it comes to the racing and fighting there. Yeah, I think Bottas caught a break with the virtual safety car.
Oh yeah. But like,
If not, he wouldn't have been able to overtake him that easy.
would Perez have won that sprint qualifying?
No.
Well, I mean, the question then becomes: would Bottas have won it if Hamilton was still there? Probably not. Or probably. We've seen him.
If Hamilton was there, Bottas would have came in second, or at most third, right? At least third.
Mm-hmm.
My
Okay.
men went from 20th to 5th.
There's a reason why Valtteri Bottas is third in the Drivers' Championship and Sergio Perez is fourth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's 203 to 178.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're in very similar cars. Granted, Perez needed a little bit more time.
New car for him.
But even like that, he's still up to speed now, and Bottas is driving better than Perez. We can see
Currently.
it currently.
Okay.
So
Don't raise your hands at us, okay?
okay, listen, Perez is very good, but he's not better than Bottas.
So
He's not as quick as Bottas because Bottas is a better qualifier, and I'll tell you what,
It's tough.
he's a better qualifier. I think Perez has better racecraft.
Which one?
He has better racecraft. Perez
Okay, go ahead.
has better racecraft, but it's not that far apart. It's not like you can really tell the difference between both of them.
Listen, I'm gonna hit him. He might say that. Okay? But I think Bottas has an advantage because Bottas has been under the Mercedes, you would say, umbrella longer than what Perez has been in Red Bull. With that perspective. Because remember, Perez is coming from Lotus, Force India and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Bottas is coming from Force India.
Lotus.
I mean, from
McLaren for to
No, no.
India.
I'm talking about let's take it back. Bottas is coming from Williams.
yeah,
Remember, Williams in the last couple of years they just had a massive downfall.
Yeah.
But they were right there when
after
they had-
Bottas left, yes.
You see, so how much adjustment did it take Bottas when he came out?
Not much.
Not much. Perez coming to a total different team.
Okay.
Coming from Williams all the way to Mercedes.
How much adjustment does Bottas need in the car? The car's not going to change that much. They have the same engine.
Between a Williams and a Mercedes?
Yeah, but the Williams is
The
judging
Williams
as the
back in
Williams
the
now.
day,
The
not-
Williams that was
yeah,
on top.
you're thinking
because
about the Williams
Bottas
now.
was putting it on the podium
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
at Williams. Okay, so Perez wasn't doing that for us.
So that means that he was outperforming the car.
And Massa was
No.
almost putting it on the podium,
Yeah.
too. The year after.
No, but look at the caliber driver Felipe Massa is.
No, what I'm saying is just that Bottas is outperforming Perez to that point is because he's been on that car way longer than Perez has. So that's the reason why I still say Perez is a better
Do you think
driver.
that Perez is quicker than Bottas?
No, and not quicker on a one lap qualifying, no.
Okay.
But on the actual race, yes.
I can.
And I raised my hand too, okay? Only one.
I would have conceded, but I see your point. I see your point. Okay.
The Ferraris.
Yes.
We talked about Carlos Sainz earlier. Charles Leclerc, amazing race as well. They almost battled each other the whole time there.
I'm just happy. Let me be happy, bro.
Okay.
The McLaren has just completely fallen off the face of the earth, right? I think that Lando himself has just been way worse. Just driving the car, and then also the McLaren has just been an
It's
issue.
just not there.
No, it's just absolutely not there.
And I think that was a horrible mistake by Lando at the beginning of the race too.
Yeah, to go all the way out wide.
And he was doing good at that point, but when he came back into the field, it was too early to do it, and Sainz was still there, and just pretty much.
Well, kudos to Lando. He still got the 10th place regardless of that.
Oh no, yeah.
So he did get a point. But the McLarens overall weren't. They have been there the past 3 races.
Correct.
Past 4 races, I think it is. But ever since that the upgrade
On Ferrari.
Yeah, the pace of the McLaren has dropped, and maybe they might be better in the upcoming tracks that are coming now. Maybe in what do you call it, Jeddah Nights?
Jeddah Nights.
Maybe they might be better there, but the Ferrari has shown pace in both tracks that are technical and fast tracks. So I'm pretty sure, unless something crazy happens, that 3rd place in the Constructors' Championship is pretty much Ferrari's, unless something crazy happens. There's still 3 races left in the season. DNFs could happen.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things that could happen.
I don't know, dude.
Everything stays consistent, it seems that Ferrari have, well, we know that they have the better car. They have the 3rd best car on the grid.
No.
But things can happen.
So
You know that.
31.5 point lead by Ferrari on McLaren. I don't know. I really don't see McLaren coming back. It's going to be a tough call.
Yeah.
Alpine double points finish, right? So I want to mention this. 8th place and 9th place. 4 points for Ocon, 2 points for Alonso. Pierre Gasly, 7th place finish, 6 points. Right now, Alpha Tauri and Alpine tied at 112 points apiece in the constructors.
This is just with one driver scoring.
Basically, it's absurd how much this guy is. So it's 112 points that they have. Pierre Gasly has 92. This has got to be like the biggest disparity between
Yeah, I mean,
in just proportion, really, because like, okay, yeah, Valtteri is down by 100 and whatever, but
Alpine's in it because Tsunoda is not doing what he needs to do.
Yeah.
And obviously he had an incident at the beginning of the race.
And that first place also shot up, Alpine all the way up.
Yeah, absolutely. But listen, points are points, and obviously a victory is a victory. Well-earned victory at that, too. But yeah, Tsunoda is just hampering AlphaTauri. That car should be up there. I mean, when we said this at the beginning of the season, there should have been a 3-way fight for third between AlphaTauri, McLaren, and Ferrari. The AlphaTauri is definitely quick enough. That car is definitely quick enough.
imagine like Alex Albon in that car. Oh.
Yeah, I mean that car.
I was thinking,
yeah,
Alex Albon wasn't even in my mind. I was thinking about Kvyat. I'm like,
Nah,
will
dude.
Kvyat would have scored so many points? I don't think so.
No, Kvyat,
no, Kvyat would have scored points
but
too.
I think, well, whatever. I think Albon would have been a better fit.
Yeah,
No,
Either
absolutely.
one of them would have scored more points than Tsunoda.
It's not, of course.
Yeah,
Either one of them.
They-
But Honda, Japanese drivers.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that car definitely deserves to be in that battle for third. We'll see. Tsunoda needs to step up because they at least need to secure that 5th spot.
Absolutely. Anything else worth mentioning in this race? over the weekend at all? I thought it was interesting to see Nikita Mazepin crying on
He was
Friday.
disappointed. Yeah.
He was very disappointed with himself or the car.
George Russell got beaten qualifying.
Yeah.
Well, new
Latifi.
Mercedes driver Nicholas Latifi, right?
The new Mercedes driver.
Yeah, they broke that contract. They like
Yep.
ripped it up.
We don't need this guy anymore.
Yeah, get this guy out of here.
Yeah, so yeah, I
Who's
mean,
this bum?
so George Russell.
That was the first time too. No?
It's because qualifying was on Friday.
He's
Yeah, he's missing Saturday. That's the first time too, right?
makes sense.
That's what it is.
All right,
Who else? Who else are qualifying once? Robert, right? Kubica. I'm qualifying once.
No.
No, not even.
Not
No,
even once.
nobody.
Okay.
The only person that qualified him was Bottas.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
it's
Yancy's favorite driver. All right.
Valtteri! Sup, my boy?
Bottas. All right. So news coming out of this race before we jump into the preview for Qatar, as I say.
Qatar.
Hamilton was fined. We talked about that earlier. He undid his seatbelt on the victory lap in Brazil. He was fined. I don't even know how much the fine was, but
It was a 5,000 euro fine, and if
Nothing.
he does it again in the next, I don't know if it's 3 or 6 months,
5,000 euro.
he'll get 20,000 euro fine.
Literal, like, okay, here you go. Look
Who
at
actually pays
Hamilton.
attention to this stuff?
Yeah.
Man? Like the
Well,
doing
listen,
the
this
seatbelt and all that
is-
stuff. 'Cause
it's-
if you look at the video, by the time he comes to pick up the flag, this bell was already buckled way before that.
Yeah, listen, it's they gave him a fine. It didn't affect the race result, which is what we wanted. It's important that people keep their seatbelts on. This is the pinnacle of sport, top driving
Cool down
category.
laps?
Doesn't matter, bro.
There's still cars.
Things
flying
happen. There's
around,
still
dude.
cars. These cars,
Okay.
even though they look like they're going slow, they're still going
Yeah.
close to 80, 100 miles an hour.
I don't even want to think what it would be to like lose Hamilton. Like there's an accident. And
Yeah, and they have to set the example for the lower categories and all over motorsport. So yeah, it is warranted. They got to have those fines in place, because if not, then everybody will start.
So
doing
coming soon, a fine for picking up a driver and giving a driver a ride when they break down. And stuff.
Yes.
it. Yes,
Yes.
I mean, yeah, that would, yeah. I mean, that
That's
would,
dangerous. Yes.
yes, that would be it. What do you think? There's Action Park, bro?
Traction
Come
park.
on, bro.
Like, wow, wow.
How about this one? We spoke about McLaren earlier. There were rumors out there that Audi was so the VW group is looking to find a way back into Formula One. They've had an outsized voice for where they are right now in the discussions of what the next engine regulations are going to be able to have another manufacturer. Now there are rumors that that Audi will outright buy McLaren to just get their foot in the door. McLaren has denied this. How cool would that have been, though?
No, it's coming. Yes, you say it. Come on.
What?
When this what with this?
When the smoke this far?
Yep.
I don't. Yeah,
Only
but
smoke I
not
see is
here,
orange.
man. I don't see it.
The rumor comes out exactly after BW has like a board meeting and all that stuff. A week after.
VW has tons of money.
Listen,
Yep.
I mean, obviously, VW in their stable of brands, they have Porsche.
I think it's them and Fiat, the biggest.
What?
I think it's them and Fiat, the biggest.
Yeah, you have Porsche, Audi, Lamborghini,
Volkswagen itself. that's also-
Bugatti. But we're talking about like performance brands. As far as
Gotcha.
like race teams, you have and not only like, they've been successful everywhere they go. You have Porsche and Audi. Audi has obviously been super successful in the endurance series. So has Porsche historically. Anywhere Porsche goes,
You just
They
said
tend
two
to-
different. You said Porsche and now Porsche.
Porsche and Audi.
Okay. No, but I'm saying
the way
you
you're saying
you,
it,
you pronounce it two
the
different
pronunciation.
ways. Porsche. and
Porsche. I don't,
Whatever. Tomato. Tomato.
yeah,
Potato. Potato.
Qatar, Qatar. So I mean, listen, they've obviously been at the table for all the discussions on the new engine.
Yes.
What they wanted to get rid of, they're getting rid of, which was the MGUH, because it makes it less expensive and they can be more competitive. They want to be competitive off the bat. They don't want to have a works team.
Mm-hmm.
They want to come into a team that's already being competitive. Does McLaren make sense? Yes. But McLaren also has a road car division. and they have been very successful in recent years as far as sales and brand recognition.
They're getting more and more.
And they
But
get
are they making money?
well. Listen,
No.
maybe they were at one point, but then the pandemic happened, and we don't know how. I mean, obviously, we don't know the technicality as far as financials, how it's affected them. Obviously, it has affected McLaren. They needed a loan, but they're making moves.
They sold their building.
Yeah, but they sold their building, but they're renting it out. They still have access to
A
it.
reverse mortgage.
Yeah, but you also see them, involved in IndyCar and other sports and other motorsport series. Why would they sell now? It doesn't make any sense to me. And
Because they need money.
and they're a direct competitor with Porsche, but more with Porsche than Audi than anything, but more with Porsche because it's a supercar.
I think this is going to happen. It's a matter of time.
What that they're gonna that
BMW is going to buy
that
them.
gonna McLaren?
I doubt it.
Doubt it, bro.
Okay.
They vehemently denied it.
So
So I'll
Press
take
leaks
their
are
word
away.
for it. I mean, listen. Are they? I think that they're eventually going to make their way into F1, the VW group, as either a Porsche branded engine or Audi branded engine, and maybe in the future they'll have
By
a
Sauber.
works team. But I don't see them buying McLaren. And plus, McLaren is one of those like legacy F1 teams.
And Williams?
they got bought.
Huh?
And Williams?
Williams.
Yeah, but the thing is that Williams.
The most successful team right behind
Yeah,
Ferrari.
but McLaren
About
also.
Force
McLaren, not only do they have the F1 team, but they have a road car division and an applied technologies division that is very successful in its own right. So again, that's so tough to see.
But
I don't know
they're
why
not
we
making
would do that.
money.
Yeah,
Right.
and then now the direction that F1 is going in is that they want to make these basically they want to make these franchises more valuable, these teams more
That we know.
valuable. So I don't see why McLaren will pull out now when everything is in their favor.
Because they're not making money. That's it.
Do you have proof of that?
They've been taking money. The loans they're taking in the past few years. They sold the building. That means you don't got no credit. Even take a
They
mortgage
don't
on
have
your own building.
liquidity is what they need.
That's exactly why they got rid of the building, so they can have liquid.
Liquidity, yeah. On that note, let's move on to the next one. F1 2021, the game, where I'm excellent. I am better than all the other drivers on the grid. They released an update.
I don't know why you're playing games when you should be on the grid.
I
bro.
should be on the grid. They released an update. Codemasters
Let's start
released
recording.
update to include the Jeddah Street Track for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix that's coming up. Go download it, go play it if you have F1 2021. It looks very, very tight.
Looks narrow.
Very tight. Like more narrow than Singapore.
Yeah.
Not as narrow as Monaco, but more.
It's a fast track,
Yeah.
but it looks narrow, and I don't know if people will be able to overtake. There's only I only see 2 overtaking spots in Jeddah, which is turn 2 and turn 23.
I don't know.
I'll check right now.
Listen, that video that they posted on YouTube, whatever today, whatever they showed, to me the car was not slowing down anyway. Almost
Yeah.
It's
car was
not.
just
That's the
flying.
whole thing. It's like they're
It was
going.
just like going side.
either that or the driver was cheating.
There's no.
He had the
He was clipping through the walls.
Yeah.
He was just going through it.
no, was it he had the 100% help or whatever.
Yeah.
So he was just flying right through, and the computer was driving for him.
Wow. There's
Like Wellington be playing.
you know how Nico Rosberg like he does on the video,
Mhm,
just like the simulator before.
So yeah,
the race.
there's
I
a
think that's pretty
chicane.
cool.
So the chicane at turn 1-2 complex after the main straight, and then you have some. It's not really a straight, but I mean those cars will be flat out. And turn 27, which is the last corner, which is almost like a hairpin. Those would be the only 2 overtaking spots. The track is quick.
So you must qualify.
Yeah, the track is quick, but it's a lot of twists and turns. It's a lot of S's. Yeah, I don't. And it looks narrow in the game, or the video that we saw. So
So Max and Lewis are going to fly away with it,
it looks like qualifying will be important. at
followed
this
by
track.
Bottas 40 seconds behind.
But then again, we don't know. I don't know how. We don't really know how wide it is. It'd be good to see it on TV. Maybe it'll be like.
It has to be finished fresh too.
Hmm?
It has to be finished as well.
In real life, it's finished in the game first.
Yeah.
In real life, second.
Maybe
know how
it'll
they
be a
do that.
virtual Grand Prix.
Maybe.
instead of-
I'm down. All right. So, guys, we'll put it in the show notes so you can see the video. Download it on F1 2021. Just go check that thing out. And now, Qatar GP race preview. Ruben, you have some history somehow?
There's no history in this track, but we got a couple of things, a couple of points. You know,
Okay.
a couple of things that I
The Formula
copy
One
pasted.
Uredu Qatar Grand Prix 2021.
Oh,
Uredu.
what is that?
I have no idea. Go ahead, Ruben.
So obviously, this is the first time the Formula One is racing in this track. It's mainly a MotoGP track. There's also some auto racing going on here, but it's not. I think it's like GP2 at one point. They came and I think the fastest lap was done back then by Hockenberg. But let's take it back. So the circuit was originally built in 2004. It was actually done in less than a year by 1,000 workers. So
Oh my God.
yeah, at a cost of $58 million. It's located just north of, I don't know how you say it, Doha, D-O-H-A?
Doha.
Doha. The track is 5.38 kilometers, which is like 3 3/3 of a mile. It has a pretty good main straight, very long. It has about 1,068 to be exact meters. It's surrounded by artificial grass that's to prevent the sand from going on the track. In 2007, permanent lights were added to the track to hold 9 races, and at that time was the largest permanent sport venue lighting project in the world until Yas Marina Circus showed up. In 2008 was the first ever as well, first night MotoGP race.
Nice.
And now we're here. We're having this race, then they're coming back on a new track that's probably going to be built in less than a year as well, with 1,000 workers in 2025 or 2023. When we come back, it's 2023, 2025, something? 2023. So they got a year and a couple of months to do another track.
So they're gonna build a new track, I think, right? That's what they
Yes.
said? Okay. So Ooredoo is a Qatari multinational telecommunications company headquartered in Doha.
Okay.
By the way, I think this is the first race as well on the MotoGP calendar when they first start. And
Yes,
it's not a bad race.
It is, but yeah, this track suits more motorcycle racing than it does car racing.
Maybe I'll go watch a race or race highlights at least.
Yeah.
Predictions. Yancy, hit us off.
We're doing the whole race or just qualifying?
Whatever you want to do,
However you want to shoot it.
but give them both. If you're gonna do both.
All right, let's do qualifying. We'll start from 5th to 1st. 5th, we'll do Sainz. 4th, Leclerc.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I can't do that.
I was going to say, forgot about McLaren completely?
No. But McLaren's gonna be below 5th. All right, I'll say 5th Leclerc, 4th Perez, 3rd Bottas, 2nd Max Verstappen for pole. I mean, Lewis. For pole.
Max gets both first and second.
Yes. In the race, I think qualifying is going to be extremely important. It's going to be much like when we see Monaco.
Okay.
That qualifying is important. There's not a lot. I don't think there's going to be a lot of overtaking on this track, because it's a very narrow circuit. The circuit, I believe, may suit Red Bull better, but I think momentum is going to carry the day here with Mercedes. So I think that the qualifying results will stay for the race.
Okay. Ruben?
Similar to what Yancy was saying, but I don't think it will be Leclerc 5th. I think it will be Norris 5th.
No.
And then will be Perez, Bottas, and I'll switch it up. It will be Lewis 2nd, Max 1st on qualifying. And it's going to be pretty much just like this last race. It's going to be a battle in the front two. It will be tough for Lewis to overtake Max, but Lewis going to take the win.
What makes you think that?
And then Norris on the drop back, like he's been, what's happening in McLaren, and Leclerc again is going to come forward.
But what makes you think that the McLaren cannot qualify the Ferrari?
Just because obviously they've been disappearing the last few races, but it's just I think Norris has it in him, and they're going to come back with some little energy to come.
It's his gut.
Yeah,
Fair enough. It's his
my gut.
His gut. I'm gonna go in reverse order. I'm gonna say, due to the complex of turns in I guess sectors 2 and 3, we'll call it.
Mhm.
I'm gonna call it a Max Verstappen 1, Lewis Hamilton 2, Valtteri Bottas 3, Sergio Perez 4. Right, and I'm going to say somebody that's been qualifying really well, somebody that's been race performing really well. The great Gasly. The great.
Yeah, how are we gonna forget about Gasly?
He remember he out-qualified both Ferraris on Friday.
Yes, he did.
This guy has been great
But he's missed the number 6. That's the reason why he's always been 6, 6, 6, 6, 6.
in the race.
No, I'm talking about also qualifying.
No, dude, he's been
Listen.
killing it.
No, I know he has, but he's always been mainly 5, 6, 5, 6, 5.
Let Wellington enjoy his Tony
The
the Tiger
great.
moment.
The great.
He's great.
He qualified 5th last Friday, but he ended up 4th because of the penalty to Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
He out-qualified both Ferraris.
That is, yeah. I think that's a good pick. That's a good pick. I don't think it'll happen, but I think
I think that the race is going to come down to
Strategy.
It's a tight one to call. Like, it's a toss-up between Hamilton and Max. If I had to pick one, I'm going to go with Hamilton, right? Because winners are going to win.
I wonder how the tire degradation is going to be here, man.
It's like straight down the middle. 3, 3, 3, 3, everything. Yeah. Downforce and blah, blah, blah.
They're not. They're gonna use the suit C2, C3, C4.
So Hamilton will win the race. Max 2nd, Bottas 3rd. Mercedes pulling away in the constructors. Perez 4th, and I pick Carlos Sainz to be 5th. So on that note, anything else you guys want to talk about? You know, one thing I did want to say. I meant to say it earlier.
I'm still seasoning that he did not put Leclerc in tough. Yes. He did say Sainz.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. One thing that I've been thinking about, right? We spent a lot of time this season because of the crashes talking about the cost cap. I wish that we could see these numbers. I wish that they were a little more transparent, like they are in like the NFL. The reason I say that is Bottas went through 6 engines. Hamilton just got a new engine after taking already a penalty. Where are they in comparison? Like, because if it's me, right, and I see the performance of this new engine, I set new engine every race, blow it up, just put another. Because if there's no talk of the cost cap, why not just keep doing that if I'm Mercedes?
I like the way Mercedes also has been finessing it because they've just been changing the ICU. ICE. Where internal combustion engine.
Yeah, but then
Wait. When Red Bull does an engine swap, they do the whole thing.
listen, you're talking about it because you're doing it for performance, and obviously, yeah, that does play a part. But we also saw Ricardo did retire this race because of a power issue.
No, he had he cracked chassis.
Oh, it wasn't a power
Jeez.
issue?
It was a cracked chassis.
Oh, it wasn't a power issue.
Correct.
Well,
How did that happen, though?
well, we've seen.
Pajo.
He must be driving to the Bronx.
My house.
So-
He went to see Eddie.
What we've seen traditionally, or in the last few years, is that Mercedes has had probably the most reliable package as far as an engine is concerned in the past, 5 years?
7, 8.
7, 8 years. I don't know if they've had to push the engine harder this year, and that is bringing out the flaws that they have in that engine, and they have to change it so much. But to say that they're just doing it just because they want to be faster, I
I'm not saying that. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that what if there's no penalty as far as the cost cap? I just keep putting it on a new engine, taking place grid penalties,
Yeah,
and
but-
passing
but-
everybody.
The engine costs you, and how much money you got left in the cost cap
Yeah.
to be taking all these engines. Like,
Yeah, I
nothing
mean,
but
listen,
water.
the cost cap is in place, and obviously they're gonna do their audits, but it might be too late for that. Yeah, I wish they would be a little bit more transparent. You're right, but we know that F1 is not a
Transparent
sport
at all.
at all. So
okay.
if you think that you're gonna get that, I wouldn't see it. But
Good luck on it.
yeah, it's but I think that they eventually they're gonna have to somehow make it transparent in order for us as fans to see that the cost cap is working and it's bringing the field closer together. Because at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want
Yeah.
the reason why they're putting it in place is not just to bring down cost, is also to make the field a little bit more competitive and give an advantage to those that finish, behind in the latter places, 17th and 9th, to give them more of an advantage going into the next year, where they can develop the cars a little bit quicker so they can be more competitive and actually fight for podiums or even a victory in every odd race. But yeah, it is a good question, but I'm pretty sure that the FIA is keeping an eye on it.
No talks about it though.
Well, I mean, listen, this would go completely contrary to your point that the FIA has something against Mercedes. They would have brought it up on that.
No, it's just that if there's just enough cost or enough cap for the cap room for them to mess around,
Mm-hmm.
me personally, I'd turn up every engine, let it blow up, and just go to town. Whatever.
Yeah, but I think that's what they're doing, though. I mean,
Well, that's a way to compensate for the race.
remember that. I mean, they do have these engine modes, and obviously they can't change it during the weekend,
And that's what's pretty much happening.
but they can change it before it.
No, but meaning you have to leave the mode that you qualified on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like what I was saying is that once you enter the race weekend and once you entered qualifying, that's what you're keeping.
Mm-hmm.
But they do have the potential to bring it up a notch, which they've probably been doing. That to bring it up a notch, and you can see it in their straight lane speed.
Right. If you were to tell me, you know what, I think Brazil looks good, I'll be able to overtake. Let me turn it up in Mexico to see if I could just do what I got to do.
It's a practice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And try and get as many points as I can, which we saw incredible pace.
Yeah.
Whatever. Guys,
Well, it's tactics.
anything else, boys?
Off to Qatar.
Cutter. Riddled. Guys, Jump to Start Racing Podcast on Jump to Start Racing Podcast on YouTube. Make sure to say hi. Drop by, subscribe, give us a like if you can, comment, whatever you can do there to help us out. We're on many podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and Stitcher. At Jump to Start F1 on Instagram and Twitter. Come by and say hello. And on that note, guys, we'll see you next week. It's race week.